arts, and especially this profession, but in every profession, has changed everything, because from the way that kindergartners are taught to the way that presentations are done in the corporate world, everything is very visually stimulating. We have PowerPoints, everything is done for the visual stimulation of the audience, and you've grown to expect that. So it's just impacted every part of our life with the digital world, where we all have access to the technology. It's really become just an integrated, a necessity part of our life. I think the new media technologies that we have in our world, that we have access to, has a positive and negative effect, but primarily I think a lot of it is negative, because with when Hurricane Sandy came ashore, there were photos all over Facebook that was saying, here's what the hurricane looks like, and it was a scene clip from The Day After Tomorrow movie. And it's kind of dangerous, because years ago, and not that long ago, to have access to the type of equipment that broadcasters and filmmakers had access to, you had to have some type of training. You had to have access to a studio. Now you don't have to do that. And looking at popular images, the one thing that stands out in my mind, and you see it in a lot of TV shows and movies, you see scenes of the Twin Towers and the New York skyline post 9/11. And when you see that, you just realize, wow, our world really did change at that moment. And then when you see it now and they're not there, you just notice how much our society changed. And when we look at our culture, I believe that we will find that date, 9/11/2001, as a defining moment in society. And so when I see videos or clips that have the scene of the New York skyline in it, and it's in many movies and TV shows, it just really makes you stop and think that our lives really did change at that moment in time. Yeah. There are innumerable images that the broadcast and film industry has created that are iconic to a certain genre. From the scene in Psycho of the shower curtain scene, classic film, from newer scenes, the Halloween movies where the villain is hiding in the shadows. It's just too many to count how that media in general has influenced society, and these images are kind of cliched almost, because you see them and you just immediately know what it's going to be. You don't have to hear an audio clip, you don't have to read text or hear music, you know that this is going to be a horror movie. If I had to pick just one visual artist, I would have to pick Alfred Hitchcock, because I think he can do more with lighting and shadows than most people can do with the latest and greatest green screen effects. Because when you can make people see things that aren't there, you can make them feel things that aren't there. The scene in Psycho that I mentioned earlier, the shower scene, the number one complaint that scene created was the blood was too red. Now that movie was shot in black and white. So if you're showing people color in a black and white movie, that is influential visual arts. I think everything that we see influences another project. You look at maybe a painting or a photograph. I love Ansel Adams' photos. Just simplistic beauty in his scenes. And of course it will influence any creative process. It may be subliminally, because you don't realize that, oh, that came from that. Just how a shot flows or how it looks in your mind. It's probably been influenced by something else that you've seen.